Well, hello, it's your old mate Dave Spencer, back with you once again, off on another one of our transport adventures. This time we're over in Yorkshire, and the very busy hub around Wakefield, just off the M62 motorway. That way behind me is down to the sort of Europort, designed with the Channel Tunnel and direct rail links to the north of England. Of course, it didn't really pan out quite as good as that, but it's got a fantastic truck stop there, and it gets a lot of visitors, lots of coasters, all sorts of wagons here, and top-notch spot for a good old truck spot. And of course, what shall we see? Well, we shall see what we shall see. And I'll perhaps have a chat with you as we go along or at the end. How's that? Bye for now. Look at a double maritime this time. Well, the one after that is. Oh, the sun is on my back now. That is absolutely lovely. Lovely jubbly. Bit of proper warm. And Long's letting maritime out. I'm shooting, only trouble is shooting this side, because of course, yes, you could get traffic sort of coming up from behind and block the shot. Well, that's just one of those things we have to live with, isn't it? Will I ever complain about that? Yes, Dave, frequently. Well, it really is something we can't do much about, isn't it? Unfortunately, we might just get blocked with this stuff, which we did. But remember, what goes up there has got to come back again, I think. Is there another way round? I don't think so. There was a road plate here that was loose. Every lorry that went over was like a whacking great big kabang. Really nasty big thing. I think it was so bad that the microphone sort of shut off when it did it. But it was something to behold at. Anyway, they fixed it, but it reminded me of an episode that we had when we were filming in Monaco. There was a similar situation. Anyway, I think the big boss in the palace must have had something to say about it. They didn't like it. The next thing, the fire brigade turned up and set about sort of putting some pins in the tarmac to hold it down better so it didn't make a noise. Sounds like a train, perhaps, going there somewhere. load of, yes, it's bollocks. Oh, it feels so good to be in the sun again. We've had weeks of dull, miserable, dark weather. Gridlock at the cafe entrance. Well, I never. Oh, I've just been in one.
Oh, it's
yeah, bless. Oh, thanks. No, I had beans on toast and a cup of tea. You're ever so kind. Oh, you're ever so kind. Bless you. Take care. Oh, what? Oh, you know, it always makes me want to cry. Why can people seem so friendly? Oh, you know, and it's not an isolated case. You know, the lorry drivers are very caring people. Some of them get a little bit carried away here and there, and some of them don't recognise my little IQ. And if they knew old Dave was on it, they would sort of be right nearly in my back pocket, as it were. But anyway, they're like that, back pocket quickly substituted for back something else. Oh no, I like to keep it family friendly, you all know that. Back to one summer when it was extremely hot. It was about 90 degrees and shit here. No, it doesn't seem true, does it? Yorkshire in the 90s, but yeah, it has. I can recall the day at Santos when it was like that. And anyway, the driver, they were carrying water, I'm sure, wherever they stopped, where people were stashing them up with water, and he sort of threw us down a bottle. And you think, oh gosh, these sort of random acts of kindness. People don't think of lorry drivers like that, but they are good people. You from time to time see sort of negative stuff about bus enthusiasts, but not so much with those who follow the lorry scene. But even these days, there's not so much hassle with the buses, with the drivers. Everybody seems to be so friendly. Why anybody would misbehave themselves, I'm not really sure, but it's a bit sad, isn't it? Of course, they're all ambassadors of their companies. Well, of course, the ones that do naughty things on the road are always in white ones with no identity on them whatsoever. But, we know who you are out there. Does that mean sounding menacing? Not very menacing, is it really? Oh dear. Anyway, yes, absolutely staggered. What a kind thought. And if it gets too hot, obviously I carry plenty of water with me. Gosh, if you could see me out there in Bangladesh earlier this year, my goodness, I was getting through the old water there. Was I not? Yes, were they? Annans, an island. We'll be in Ireland in a couple of weeks. A week and a bit now. We've got about a 3-week stay in Ireland, around the whole of Ireland, and taken in one of the islands. Oh yes, an island off Ireland. Where's that? Rathling, off the coast of Northern Ireland. Population varies somewhere between 50 and 100, depending on sort of how many visitors they've got. Back before the potato famine, they had 1,200 people living on the island. How's that for a fact? Country that's never ever recovered from that. And remembered from generation to generation. My father was Irish, most of you know that now. My adopted dad, his family came from Liverpool, Waterloo. It's not the Waterloo over the channel, it's the Waterloo on the extremities of Liverpool. It's a sort of crossbit really. My grandmother had great contention. My grandfather on my adopted side was bandmaster of the Liverpool Corporation Tram Band, and in the daytime an inspector. He'd served in the King's Liverpool Regiment, as did my adopted father, and I believe a generation back, and siblings as well, all served in the King's Regiment. King's Men as they were called, still are. Well, I think it covers a bit more territory these days. Who remembers the trucking scene during the pandemic and the lockdown? It was quite a bit into it, and then we realised that we were essential workers. Anybody who entertained people, produced something for them to watch, do, was considered to be an essential worker, and we were okay to travel around England. They had different rules in Scotland and Wales, Northern Ireland. Republic of Ireland had quite draconian measures. And anyway, we got out and about, and it was very quiet on the roads. Really, just lorries, vans, just the occasional private car. They were probably doctors or nurses going to work. And when it all kicked off, when they got to the ports, I can name no names, okay I will. Peel ports at Liverpool, they wouldn't even let the drivers use their toilets. Now you could say they were scared, but I'd say it's very uncharitable, very silly, and it doesn't engender good relations with any sectors of industry, does it? Peel ports an organisation which has grown and grown, spreads its tentacles. Yes, these things live on in the folk memory, don't they? And the stories become not apocryphal but true, historic detail, which is recorded by the likes of us. You know, we were there, we knew what was going on, we were seeing it. Stage truck moves theatrical and performance equipment. He's from Italy. Yeah, well, that had to be something to explain the rather funny manoeuvring, didn't it? He was looking how to get in, and then getting a wide berth. Have you ever driven in Italy? Oh my God! Yeah, we had a week driving around Sicily. My goodness, they are hairy beyond belief. The accidents, we'd only been there a week and we'd seen at least 3 fatal accidents where they'd had to close the road for the police and the ambulances. Very dodgy drivers there. Not like the careful drivers in Britain. And we're so congested, we've got so many people and vehicles around that we've got to be a little bit polite now and again. How are we ever going to live together if we're not polite? Of course, unfortunately, there's more of us living here than sort of should have been, really. Assuming our demographics didn't stay the same. But of course they haven't stayed the same, have they? I say no more, God, you can't talk freely in English. Oh no, just do anything. Yeah. Have you noticed it's the people that come over and life on the ocean wave and all that? It's not there. They get put up in a nice hotel. But if anybody moans about it and goes up, they say, well, I'm very sorry. We didn't really want too much of that sort of thing. And it's them that sort of gets in trouble. Funny old world, isn't it? Very funny old world. Thing he's going across to the cafe or to fill up a bit of the fuel. Do you notice any time it's fuel is when it's Christmas and it's gathering winter. Fuel, yes I know, they don't break into song again, it's more than we can stand. It's the first bit of trail we've had for a while. He's not coming over here. We know where he's going. Where's he going? Is he going to get his dinner? No, he's not. Oh, no, he's not. Oh yes he is. He's going somewhere else with one. shame there are so many white ones around, isn't it? I think they should get a subsidy to put something on, some sort of, you know, safety things, or you know, telling people stuff they don't know. Or just pure exhilaration of sort of something bright and cheerful that lightens people's way. Gives us something for the kids to watch out for us on a long journey. Any lorries out there? Anybody seen a lorry? Ah, they're all there hiding, you see. They're quickly finishing off their brew, and we're going to dash for it and all be together, so I can't get a picture of our trials and tribbles of tribulation, transport, photography. Knows no bounds. Oh dear, they throw everything at us. Get away from them even when I haven't managed to get a shot. Sort of just about picture. I told you they'd all come out at the same time. Very much like buses, isn't it? I'll have to move again. I'm in the shade. I really don't want to be in the shade. I need sun. I even take vitamin pills, vitamin, is it D's? That sort of Wakes up when you haven't got any sunshine. Never saw any more of the Chinese buses today, did we? I hope I've sort of done enough over the years to promote the hobby of photography, wagons, lorries, trucks, whatever you want to call them, and it sort of coincided with the sort of rise of stove arts and naming them with all the girls' names. That was a record of what they were all called. It's something of a social document. I believe the number one name for boys last year in the UK was Mohammed. What happened to all the Daves? I'm still here, and yeah, it's a great time. So yeah, and you know, the people sort of spotting on the overbridges. I don't even know if you get truck spot books. I'm not sort of in it like that, I suppose. I just accept we shall see what we shall see. I let that be our mantra and see how we get on. One of my friends said to me, he said, I bet they all thought you were balmy when you started taking loads of pictures of lorries. I thought, well, I first started taking stills of lorries in a very small way back in the 70s. and then it sort of became a bit more of a thing. I don't know, I used to sort of quite like the look of lorries, and took pictures along with the buses and I suppose everything really, ferries and aeroplanes, everything I could take a picture of, I did. And these days it seems to be the thing to go around sort of finding out that everybody's got this obsessive compulsive disorder. The trouble is, it's once upon called energy and getting off your backside and getting on with things. Now they want to put a label on it. God bless everybody out there who has a hobby that hurts nobody, that makes people feel good. I got a message on YouTube from one of the bus drivers down in Cardiff, and his friend had sort of wound the window down, opened up, like waved and shouted hello sort of, and he said I'd sent it on to me pal, the link there for the shots, you know, and do you know, he said how good it makes us feel that somebody out there appreciates what we do, appreciates the vehicles we drive, and has a smiling face and a wave. He said you lift the spirits, and I feel very humbled, and it's a bit like that when I sort of take people on board for a few minutes and show them what we do, and you know, people that of course nobody has to tell us about disability. Mandy became disabled at 18 months old, but like she said, well, you know, there's one thing, if somebody sort of happens to somebody later in life, it's particularly awful, but when it happens to a baby and you've got no memory of before, then you just have to put up with it, and that's your life. So and you know, having friends who similarly have lifetime disabilities, they feel the same, but so does society. It just pretends that the people don't exist, and all they're asking for is enough to make them sort of on par with everybody else. But each and everybody's disability is different, and we're somewhat ashamed to say that the UK is probably about one of the worst. Oh yeah, yeah, Dave Spencer, BNB. Oh no, bless you. You're the second person who's offered. Oh bless. I popped in, had a cup of tea, I had some beans on toast, so I've done that bit. It's very kind of you. Yeah, you see me, it's Dave Spencer 32 on YouTube. You know, we've got God knows what thousands now, and you know, huge amounts of it. But I do other stuff besides lorries, and you know, it's nice. You're the second person a day, and you know, it's always a great spot. I think special people come here. Yeah. I'll catch the stuff coming over to me, standing the cross, the Yay, all the yeah, well, it's Lincoln Street, but it's brilliant. And it gets the traffic coming from King's Lynn, and I've always done well. And I did do some shots on the outskirts of King's Lynn once, and in the morning it seemed okay, but then it sort of seems to fall off. But I was staying in the Premier Inn, and it seemed to only be 5 minutes walk from the road, so I got up at 7 o'clock. It's brilliant. Well, the truck stopped making it, because, you know, it just lifts it. It's busy anyway, but, you know. Nah, it's really nice, really clean, prompt, you know, they get on with it, they clear the table, everything's nice, toilets are tidy, yeah, everything. Yeah, they get taken over by chain.
As soon as you get to that moment,
Cheshire, thanks very much. Drive safe. Bye. actually. I can't believe it. There's another person, a driver, come out and did want a cup of tea or a sandwich, bring him up. And, oh, 2 on 1 trip. I don't know. Gosh. God love them. See, there are lovely people in the world, you know. Whoever you find does bad things, there's got to be good things as well. Because surely we weren't created to be all misery, and there has to be some gentleness, kindness, you know. And it's a bit sort of out of the lion, you know, out of the big truck driver, you know, stereotype, big pot belly and all this. They're not now. And they worked hard, and they were nice people as well, but now they've come through into a new age and just shown that all the stuff they get on the internet, all the bad things that happen in the world, they're still very kind, considerate, pleasant people, and God love them. And may they all have wonderful, and their families all have wonderful lives. And if they got the secret of their success as being a lovely human being, which they could tell the rest of the world, and they could all have a dose of it. Well, it's your old mate Dave back with you. How's that then? 3 hours of lorries and action nearly all the way, wasn't it? Very good spot. What wonderful drivers. 2 took the trouble to come back from the truck stop and asked me if they could go and get me anything, something to eat, a sandwich, a brew, whatever. But I'd been in and I'd had some beans on toast and I'd had a vanilla slice with a cup of tea. Anyway, it's been great having you with us, and I'm not sure if we'll be at Wakefield again this year, but it's a place we come for buses as well as lorries. And it always is a pleasure having you with us. Meanwhile, Mandy's at home over in Cheshire, the other side of the hills, and I'm here in Yorkshire. I'm heading home, and from the pair of us, Mandy and I, God bless, stay well, stay safe, be good if you can, be kind to others, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye everybody, goodbye.